If you're depressed, you're living in the past. And if you're anxious, you're living in the future. Only real peace is found in the present. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Stamp and Chat. I'm Gina K, and I'm so excited to see so many of you coming in, tuning in from all over the world. Tonight's topic is living in the past. And if you live in the past too much, you miss out on all the good things that are right in front of you. You can't start the next chapter of your life if you keep rereading the last one. And if you're judging yourself by the past, stop. You don't live there anymore. And let's face it, to hold on to the past always creates suffering, even when it was wonderful. I am glad to be here with you all tonight. I have some fun things planned. Tonight, we're going to be playing with foil. I have a couple of relatives that are celebrating a birthday very soon. Actually, I'm probably going to be a little late getting their cards out. And I don't know why that is, because I make so many cards, you would think I'd have just the right card, but I don't, because I needed birthday cards and I've been focusing on cards of caring, so I haven't made any birthday cards. My brother-in-law and my nephew, his son, were both born on the same day. And I was trying to think of what kind of card I would want to make for these guys. So I thought you can't go wrong with foil. So I'm going to be using a laminator and some foil mates and some foil. I'm going to show you a couple other fun things that you can do with the foil when you're using this system. So let me pull over the front camera here. And this is one of the packs of foil mates that I'm going to be using tonight. It's called Birthday Bash. Now, if you're new to the foil mates, let me explain to you what these are. So you can see this pack, you get 12 sheets, 6 sheets each of these 2 designs. So I'm going to try to do math here. I don't know if that's a good idea, but if somebody can do 12 times 6 for me, I believe that's 72. That's how many separate cards you can get out of this one set of foil mates. Somebody just asked if my microphone is off. I hope it's not off. Oh, it is off. Oh my gosh, is it off? Let's see. No, I think it's not off. So if anybody can let me know if you can hear me, that would be great. I think you guys can. If you're having trouble hearing me, just go out and come back in, and that usually fixes the problem. So this makes 72 birthday cards, this one pack of foil mates. Foil mates are pre-designed image sheets, and they're printed with a special kind of ink. And the ink is actually a plastic. So what happens is when you put foil on top of this and you send it through a hot laminator, it melts the plastic, and the plastic grabs the foil. Then when it comes out the other side and it cools, the foil and the plastic that this is printed with become one. The plastic that this is printed with, it's a resin. It's like toner from a laser printer, and you can have a lot of luck designing your own with toner. But if you want to make it easy, you can pick up a quick pack of foil mates and you can have 72 birthday cards ready to go. All you have to do is cut them out with dies that you have or with a paper cutter and foil them, and you're ready to go. Now, I'm going to be using the Birthday Bash for these cards. And then I'm going to be using a couple of the background designs. So I just grabbed a few here. This one's really fun. It's called Bold Backdrops. And this one has 10 sheets, and you get 5 of each design. Well, a sheet can be cut in half to make 2 cards. So you really get 20 backgrounds with this. And if you do different types of layouts, you can even get more. So Bold Backdrops, I like this one. This is one I might use. I also might use Polka Party. I love these smaller polka dots. And then there is the Stars and Stripes. I might use that too. I'm trying to think of, designs that are good for guys. So I'm staying away from the floral ones and things like that. Although I found 1/4 sheet left of this one. And this is absolutely one of my favorites. It's the Swirls and Flourishes. This is one of the very first ones that I designed for ThermoWeb. And I think I'm going to use this. It's my last one. So let's hope for the best. I have to get a new pack of that for sure. So this is the way I like to store my foil mates. I keep them in these large stamp pockets, and then I just take a label maker and I put a little label at the top, and I store it with the image sheet too. I keep that all together. I even store the instructions in the back, so this way if you ever, forget what you're doing or you just want to refresh your memory, it's right there. And these large stamp pockets are great for that. Now you can use the large stamp pockets or the medium stamp pockets to store the foil. So I have these in large stamp pockets, but actually I may switch them over to the medium ones because I really don't need this part here, and the medium ones are just a little bit smaller. I cut the sheets of foil in half and then put them in here because I never use anything bigger than a half sheet of foil for my projects. So I have some Brilliant Blue, which is this beautiful glittery blue, and it's behind plastic, so when I take it out, you'll see it's pretty amazing. I also have Radiant Red, and that is pretty amazing too. I have some Glittering Green. Love this one. And then I have some gold sequins here. This is a really fun pattern. It looks like sequins, and it's foil. This also comes in silver. I figured these colors would be really good for guy birthday cards. I didn't really want to go into the lilac, the lovely lavender that we have, or the twinkling pink or the bubblegum pink. I thought these would be a little bit better for the guys that I'm making cards for. So let's start with a background. Now let me first show you the laminator that I'm using. This is the Royal Sovereign laminator. Oh, it's really hard to see. So let me just flip this around here. I'm going to hold it up this way. So this is the Royal Sovereign laminator that I'm using. And it has been on, sorry, got a little bit in my throat there. This has been on for about 20 minutes. With the Royal Sovereign laminator, ThermoWeb recommends heating it up, 15 to 20 minutes ahead of time, just to make sure that it's really super hot. It's the laminator that ThermoWeb tests all of their products on, so I really like it because if there's a problem, they won't know, if it's your laminator or if you're doing something wrong. So I like to use that one, but I also really like the Mink. So if you already have a Mink, totally fine to use the Mink. It's kind of the Cadillac of laminators, and it's made for crafting. So that one heats up in about 3 minutes. So if you don't have either one of those, but you have an old laminator, I highly recommend that you give it a try, because as long as you let that thing heat up for a good long time and it's really hot, you shouldn't have too many problems. But those are the two laminators I recommend if you're in the market, the Royal Sovereign or the Mink. So I'm going to start by using this, the Swirls and Flourishes, and then I'm going to use some parchment paper. Now this is different than wax paper. It has no wax on it, which I don't think would be good to put through a laminator because the wax would probably melt all over your rollers. It's super thin. You can see how thin that is. You can see the design right through it. This is the equivalent of it's even thinner than super thin typing paper from the days of old, if anybody remembers that. Different than kitchen parchment paper. Kitchen parchment paper seems to be a little thicker. I haven't had as much luck with it. And this can be purchased through ThermoWeb. They have that. Also, any of your favorite retailers would have that. I do see that Heidi from Simon Says Stamp has joined us tonight, and she shared some links for you because I know we are out of some of these things, so you can check her links or our links, either one, or shop at your favorite retailer or your local store for sure. We've got to support everybody. Okay, so I'm going to start here, and I'm going to put a piece of really thin, this is the 80-pound layering weight Gina K Designs cardstock inside the parchment paper. Oh, and I should tell you, when you buy a pack of foil mates, you get parchment paper in here. So you don't have to necessarily run out and get it. If you get this, it comes with a piece of parchment. Then I'm going to put that piece of cardstock in here. Now, the reason I do that is because when you add a piece of cardstock, number one, you stiffen up your folder. It's not quite as flimsy as just the parchment. So that helps if you've got a lot of little pieces that you want to foil. It's also great because that little added thickness gives a little bit of extra pressure, and it bumps the whole thing up a little bit closer to the heating element in your laminator. So I'm going to start with the piece of flourish paper, and I'm going to, let's see, should I use the gold sequin? Let's take a piece of that out so you guys can just love it with me. Look at this. Look at all of that iridescent color. Isn't that beautiful? Oh, I love it. I'm going to put this, the sequins, the gold sequins, onto the piece of flourishy paper that comes from the Swirls and Flourishes set. Yeah, and if you don't have a laminator, that's okay. The reason why I like to do videos, these foil videos once in a while, is just to let you see just how easy this is. Because I know foil, for some people, it's a little bit intimidating. They don't think that they can do it. But I'm telling you, anybody can do this. So I have my laminator here, and it's sideways, and I am going to feed this with the fold side of the paper going into the laminator first. Now, the hardest part of foiling is waiting for it to come out the other side because it's so exciting to see. Now, there's lots of different things that you can use foil with. You don't have to use it with these foil mates. You can use it with Deco Foil Transfer Gel. You can use it with stencils. You put the gel on there. You can use it with double-sided sticky tape, so you can die cut something out of, you know, put a piece of foil over double-sided sticky tape and then on cardstock and then die cut it out. You can use it with score tape or any of the red line tape and make stripes out of foil. Lots of different things you can do with foil. You can also use it, and I have a video on this where I use it with alcohol ink. I did an alcohol ink background, and then right before it was completely dry, I touched foil all to it, and it stuck just the edges of the ink, and it looked like polished stone or marble. It was beautiful. So lots of things that you can do. Okay, so now this has come out the other side. Let me move the laminator out of the way here. And now I'm going to peel and reveal. All right, you ready? So here we go. Oh, look at that. Isn't that just fun? I really like that. And the fun thing with this is if you do something like this, you can just take half of it and make 2 cards out of it. Just cut it right down and use it as a really pretty border down one side. So that will get you, you know, maybe 60 cards out of that pack. Lots of fun ways to use it. But you can see how easy that is. Now, the white behind here looks really pretty with the gold sequins, but I want to show you another trick. And if you do have problem getting total coverage when foiling, just make sure that your laminator is hot enough. I actually turned this on at 6:30, so I started at 7, so that's a good half hour. But you can see that's a pretty good amount of coverage there. You also want to add that extra paper, that extra piece of cardstock shim to tighten it up because the foil transfers with both heat and pressure. So you create more pressure and move it up closer to the heating element. And make sure too, if you get some spotting, make sure that you don't have things on your desktop like maybe specks of embossing powder, maybe even embossing magic, or glitter, anything like that. If little specks of that get on your cardstock, the foil won't stick to those areas. So ThermoWeb recommends taking one of those Swiffer wipers things that you dust with, the dusters, and dust over it if you're having problems. And that can help a lot too. Okay, so now we have that piece. I want to show you another fun technique because this is way too pretty to get rid of, right? We have to use this for another project. So I'm going to show you something fun that you can do with that. All right, so let me find my pack of toner paper. So you can see I definitely need to move this into a large stamp pocket thing. So I'm going to, this one needed to be cut down and I just shoved it in there. This is toner paper. So this is paper that was printed with the same resin, that thick black resin that is used to do the designs. This is not just black cardstock. This actually has that ink, that special ink all over it. And I'm going to use that. Let's see here. I'm going to cut this down a little bit. So I'm going to cut it down to 3 3/4 by 5. Okay. I'm just looking to make sure I don't have any any specks of anything here. And then I'm going to take this toner paper and I'm going to put this design on top of it. And I'm not worried if I need to trim it down a little bit, but the one thing that you want to make sure that you don't do is, if you're going to cut it afterwards, or you're not going to cut it afterwards, then make sure that your entire piece of cardstock is within the window with the design. All right, I'm going to flip this over. And the reason I'm flipping it over is because, can you see the little outline here in the parchment paper? I don't want that to ruin my design. So I'll just use that other side for smaller pieces. That's why I like to have some parchment paper on hand, because I find that if it wrinkles, it can give you a wrinkle in your design. All right, so I'm going to move this way. I think I might have better luck with it pressing out because I see it's kind of a little bit crinkly in that direction. So we'll see if that helps. Okay. So now I'm going to get the laminator again. I shouldn't have moved it. Let me grab it here. Okay. And send it through the laminator. And I'm just going to hold it till I know that that whole design has caught, just so that nothing falls out the ends. So these little strips can be used with little leftover strips of foil that you didn't need. Put them onto the toner paper, and then the foil will stick to the toner paper, and then you can use that to die cut something like a border die or a small word die, or just to use it as a decorative border across the belly of your card. I have another one of those here too. So you can keep those all in a little box together, and you can grab them just to do something fun and different. Okay, so this looks pretty good. I just pulled it out of the parchment paper. I'm going to move the laminator out of the way again. Okay, so this is like really fun, this part. So let's see here. You should get a full transfer. There we go. Look, every little bit of that foil, except down here, which I could use on one of my strips and make use of that for another card, which that's a good idea. I'll do that later. But look at this design. Isn't that spectacular? And that uses every single little bit of that foil. So now that one piece of foil that was only going to get you one card actually got you 2 cards, 2 completely different looks, but absolutely beautiful. So I can use both of these for my birthday cards tonight. But I think I want to just do a couple other backgrounds, and then we'll pick some greetings to do. So I'm going to put these aside, and then we can decide what we want to do in a little bit. So let's see here. I'm going to try the polka party, because polka dots, see here, see in this pack, there's a piece of parchment paper right in there ready for me to use. All I have to do is put a piece of cut cardstock in there and I'm ready to go. So I think I'm going to use the busier one, this one. And let's see what I want to use with this. I'm going to put these back and save that. So first, you are going to need to cut it down to whatever size you want to do. So for this, I'm going to stick with that measurement, that 3 3/4 inch by 5 inch. It's kind of a good, sometimes I like to line the dots up too. So I'll go like a little bit in and cut in the center of the dots. And then I'll flip it around and I'll go to the 5-inch mark, and that'll kind of cut in the center of these dots. And it feels like it's a little bit more centered that way. I could even cut this a little bit smaller because it really doesn't matter. Whatever size you cut your cardstock to, you can still use that on an A2 size card. So you see it kind of feels a little better to me. It may not be perfect, but it feels good. Okay, and then I can keep this little guy and trim that off and use that as a belly band for a card. Okay, so now I need to pick a type of foil that I want to use. So the green would be really fun, but the brilliant blue, oh, I love this one. I think I'm going to do that, brilliant blue. I love now we have a lot of different kinds of foil in the Gina Designs collection. And then the Rena K collection has neons, and they're enamels. Now, enamels don't work with the pre-printed designs, but they do work with Decofoil transfer gel. And I have many videos and many things going on with transfer gel. So if you go over to my YouTube channel and you search the video that's called 5 Ways to Use Decofoil Transfer Gel, you will find 5 ways to use it. All right, so I'm getting my parchment paper and I'm putting my piece of parchment, my cardstock back in there. And then I'm going to put my background in there. I want to make sure that it's going to be right in where those lines are. There we go. And then I am going to put this brilliant blue on top. Okay. Now I'll grab my machine and I'll put this through again. The thing that I love about these too is if you are making holiday cards and you decide that you want to use foil mates, you could sit down and in 2 hours make 40 cards because you just run them through the laminator. You can mass produce all the pieces and then bang, 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 you tape them all up and put them on card bases, and they are spectacular. It's funny because a lot of times I run out of time and I need something fast, so I'll use the foil mates, and then people will say, oh my gosh, this card, it's so beautiful. I can't believe you took this much time to make me a card. Let me just get rid of this person here who is telling us that they haven't. Okay. Sorry about that. It's hard to moderate at the same time. So if you guys see anything that looks a little bit suspicious, like a weird link or anything, somebody kind of asking for money, things like that, feel free to report them or delete the comment if you can. Okay, so I'm going to go to the overhead again. So here is my brilliant blue. Look at that. Okay, here we go. Oh, do you hear the angels singing? Look at that shine. That is a beautiful transfer too. That looks fantastic. You know that this piece should be used for something, right? That brilliant blue. Now, if you don't have toner paper, you can also use a glue stick and just put a very thin coat of glue down and then put this, this piece down and then just, you know, use a credit card or something to spread it out really nice and flat. And you can put that right over white cardstock and then trim it out with your paper cutter and you have white dots on a brilliant blue background. So there are lots of ways to use this excess stuff. Okay, so now I have this one. I feel like this one might be one of the winners. So let's do one more. Ooh, I know. I know. We got to do one more little technique here. Let me see if I can find it. I think it's in the stars. No, it's in this one. Okay. Let's try it with this. I think it should work. No, maybe I need to get the other one. I'll try it with this. We'll see. Sorry. I'm very confused. Okay, so this is from the Stars and Stripes. And no, it isn't. This is from the bold backdrops. Stars and Stripes has the stripes going this way. Bold backdrops, and one of our holiday ones has the stripes going on a diagonal. So I'm going to use this one, and we'll play with this and see what happens here. So I'm going to, let's see, do my same measurement again. 3 3/4 by 5 1/2. I know a lot of you are waiting for our next release too. I know you're kind of excited about that, and that is coming. It's going to come, I think, the second week of June. Things are rolling in for it, so stay tuned for that. Okay, so I have another piece of parchment here. So what I'm going to do with this one is I'm going to start with some red. I'm going to use Radiant Red for this. Radiant Red is my favorite red out of all the foils, all the red foils. This one, if you don't have this one for Christmas, you have to get it. Look at it. It's just, we call it Radiant Red, but it's like ruby slippers. It is amazing. I think of Dorothy every time I see this. So sparkly. All right, now I'm going to send this through. And we're going to do that in Radiant Red. And while that's going through, shall we just take another look at how beautiful these are? Look at that. Ooh. Love it. And then this one, this is my favorite, I think. I just love the black up against that. And so any of the glitter foils will do that same kind of thing. And then the blue. So fun. So after I do this little background, then I'm going to, somebody asked, do you need toner or dry double-side adhesive? Oh, okay. That's it. And somebody's answering a question. Thank you. Thank you all so much for being so kind and answering each other's questions, because I know you guys know a lot about this stuff. Okay, so here we go. Look how pretty that is. Candy striper red. So we have this really cool piece right here. So let's keep that, okay? And then let's do one more of those. I know I cut it. Where did I put it? It's the question. Okay, give me a second to find what I did with that piece of, I need my paper cutter again. Well, we'll cut it. Oh, I put it back in the pack. See, if I put things away, oh my goodness. Okay, so I'm going to cut another one, and I'm going to do a green one this time. And then hopefully, if all works out, I'll have another little trick to show you. So I'm going to use the glittering green. Let me see if I have a whole sheet. I do, or half sheet. So I'm going to put that over the stripes. So again, I have the parchment paper, the piece of white cardstock, my foil mate piece, and then glitter side up, glittering green foil. And then this is going to go through the laminator. So I'm going to just peek here and see. Yes, who doesn't love ruby slippers? Exactly. I agree. I agree. And welcome to anybody who's just joining us. I see lots of people here. There's a lot of us here tonight. And it's so wonderful to see you from all over the US and Canada and all over the world. So thank you for joining me. I am honored to have you here. So I know that a lot of people have ventured back to work and they're getting used to their new schedule. I hope that the Monday, Wednesday, Friday is still working for a lot of you. I know some of you might be tired just getting home from work, and we appreciate all that you do. Okay, so now I'm going to peel this gently. The green always makes me happy. That green. I am going to have to post pictures of all of these on Facebook just so that you can see how pretty these are and the fine detail and how well that foil transferred. Okay, so now we're going to have a little bit of fun. Not that we're not already having fun, but we're going to have a little more fun. So let's say I wanted to do a little piece of something going across the center of my card. So I'm going to take this piece of toner paper and I'm going to trim it down to about 3 3/4 inches. I'll leave it that size for now, just so that we can kind of see the fun. Okay, so what I'm going to do with this is I'm going to start with the green. I'm going to put the green down on top of that. Now this is going to give me a nice bold stripe with little thin black lines. So we'll send that through. So you saw what I did. I put a piece of toner paper down and I put that negative piece, the piece that was left behind from my original Foil Mates design, and I'm adhering that now to the toner paper. Now I know you just saw me do that, but I'm going to do something a little bit different here, and hopefully it'll work. I know it works really well with some of our other striped paper, but I think you'll get the idea, and I think it'll give a pretty cool little look here. Okay. So let's see how this turned out. Oh, that's beautiful. That is beautiful. All right, so now I'm going to take this, and I want to see how this works. So I'm going to just crisscross it like this, and just those tiny little thin black lines in there are going to catch that red. So you see what I did? I've got lines going in one direction, and now I'm laying this on top to go in the opposite direction. So let's see how this looks. There is a design that we have, and I don't have it out, but if you look through our Foil Mates, it is one of our holiday Foil Mates, and maybe even Heidi can find it. It might be Holiday Flora, one of those. It has more uniform size stripes that go on a diagonal. These are very thin stripes, so it's a little different, but does toner paper come in the kits? Well, we don't really do foil kits, but the toner paper is available as a separate purchase. And there are two kinds. There's peel and stick toner paper, and then there is the regular toner paper. I'm using the regular toner paper, but if you want to use peel and stick toner paper, then you can foil it, die cut it, and it's already got adhesive on the back. You just peel the little paper. Okay, so let's see what this looks like. I think it's going to be kind of cool. All right. Yeah, you see that? So I have a plaid pattern there. Isn't that neat? So then you could take this little plaid pattern and you could use it across the center of a card if you wanted to. You could also take it and die cut a heart out of it. You could die cut snowflakes out of it. You could die cut a word out of it and have a plaid word. So this is a really little technique, that little crisscross look. I just had to show it to you. I know I have the other, Heidi can't find it. You're dropping the ball finding it. Okay, well, give me 1 second and I'll just grab my box of foil stuff here. and I will find it just so that you guys can know what it is. So let me see here. I'm digging. Here it is. It's Ornamental Holiday. So you can see this is a big wide pattern. And when you do the crisscross with that, you see a lot more of the red. So if you like this kind of look, hey, it never hurts to have this because you can make these quick backgrounds and make fast cards or even holiday tags. You can cut that out with a tag die and then put a greeting on there and flip it over on the other side and do to and from, and you've got a sparkly gift tag. So it's called Ornamental Holiday, and that's what it looks like. So you can see, I mean, we have a lot of different stripe options. Stripes are always cool, and they're great for masculine cards. I don't think foil is weird for masculine cards at all. It's sparkles and it's fun, but it's still, you know, some of these patterns, these are pretty bold. So, okay, so now we're going to do a couple of greetings. And when I do the greetings, I like to cut them out before I foil them. And the reason is because sometimes, I'm going to switch cameras here. Sometimes the die can put some weird pressure into the design. And then if there's pressure and indentations, the foil can't sink down into the indentations. So I like to cut them out, and then I don't worry about scratching up the foil and things like that. So I'm going to cut it out first. So I'm using my Platinum 6 Spellbinders machine, and this is the pack that I have here, the Birthday Bash. There is another birthday set available too. And can you believe I don't have that one? I don't know why. It's really irritating me a bit that I don't have it. Let me see which ones I have in here. Okay, so I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to do this one, Let the Party Begin. I think that's one greeting. So I'm going to lay this down. I know you can't see what I'm doing here, but I'm going to cut it out using one of the double stitched ovals. And you know, I originally designed these dies for ThermoWeb. So I designed them, and all of the greetings that I designed for ThermoWeb all work with these circles, squares, rectangles, and ovals dies. They were all designed with that thought in mind, that it would be used that way. So let me cut this one out quick, and then I'll show it to you on the overhead. And then I'm going to just I'll do one more. Okay, so I'll show you what these look like in just a second. And I'll show you right now what this one looks like. So here I've cut it out, Let the Party Begin, and that's going to be my greeting panel, but I'm going to foil it to match my card. Okay, so now the next one that I'm going to do is this one. I really like this design, this Happy Birthday to You, although maybe I should use this one because I can change the orientation. I think I'll use this one. And there's a lot there that can be foiled. Okay, so I'm going to use a bigger die for that, I believe. So I'm going to flip it back over to the front camera here so you don't have to see my hands struggling. All right, let me see if this die fits. This is the biggest oval, and I think that one is going to be good. These are sideways, so you could cut them out first, just kind of in a big rectangle. To make sure you have it straight, but this is a homemade card, so we're going to be forgiving tonight. If it's not perfect straight, we're going to forgive me. And I know my nephew is not going to mind. He's going to love the card, and hopefully he'll love the gift I'm putting into the card. That's the best part when you're a young adult, right? Okay, so I've cut that one out, and I will show that one to you on the overhead as well. So here's what that looks like. Okay, yay, yay. So now I've cut those out both using the double stitched ovals. I use these two ovals, the larger and the medium size. I'm going to put these back on my magnet here, and then I'm going to switch over to the single stitched, and I'm going to do a black one of each of those because I'm going to use that behind the other one. And I don't want to, one thing you have to watch is when you've got your paper strewn about all over the place is that you don't grab toner paper by accident. So I'm trying not to do that. So I'm going to cut these two out. Look how long my hair got. Not to change the subject, but do you guys remember like when we started this thing, my hair was was really short, and not anymore. I'm going to have to at some point get a haircut, but I think I'm just going to have Rena do it. Why not? She needs to practice, and I need a haircut, so I think that sounds like a win-win. And I have my wig on standby just in case. I get the feeling, though, that she's going to do a really good job. She's very creative, and people that are creative seem to also be very creative with beauty and makeup, and they just can do those things if they want to. Not everybody wants to, but I've noticed that when the people who want to do it, they've got that natural artistic ability when it comes to all of those kinds of things. Okay, so I've cut two black ovals here. Let me switch back to overhead. And let me get my die cutting machine out of the way because I'm done with that for now. So now it's time to put some foil on these. So what are we gonna do? So I think I have to use this piece. And I almost hate to use it with that because it covers so much, but that'll still look really cool. So I think I'm going to use this piece for this card. Maybe I don't even need the black oval for that because I kind of won't see it. And then for this one, I think I'll do a combination of red and blue. Oh, that almost looks like a patriotic thing. But, oh, what the heck, right? I think I'll do it. I could do blue and green. Maybe I'll do that. This way it doesn't look like a 4th of July card. Oh, what you have to think about. Okay, so for this one then, I'm going to use brilliant blue on this, and I'm going to use gold sequins on this. So let me get my laminator. I appreciate the fact that you guys just let me talk out loud and think through what I'm making right here with you all. That is comforting and non-judgmental, and I love it. I did, however, oh, here we go. All right. So let me get a new piece of parchment. I like to have one piece of parchment that I work on with just my greetings. And I'm sorry, I didn't even think tonight if you can hear that humming in the background. That's my laundry. I actually did laundry today. I'm really playing catch up this week because I feel like I haven't done laundry in like 60 days. So I'm finally playing catch up. All right, so I'm going to use the Brutus Monroe scissors here, and I'm going to cut a piece of this in half. Now, one thing about the foil, a lot of people try to cut the foil big enough to cover the entire die cut piece. That's not necessary. You just need to be able to cover the black print. So if, part of that die cut piece sticks out, sorry, one of my hairs on my head just dropped off my head and right onto that. That would have been a mess. Okay. So now I'm going to send this through. Fold side through first. And here we go. Oh, it's fun. I love foil. I don't care how many times I've used it. It's always fun. Now, in the meantime, I have a lot of brilliant blue already cut up because I used this for a bunch of holiday things last year. So let's see if that's going to fit onto my other piece. I think it will. Oh yeah, this will fit for sure. Okay, so we'll use that one. All right, I'm hoping for the best here. see what happened. Here we go. There we go. You see the sequins? Trying to get the right angle so you can see everything. Okay, so that is going to look really cool on top of this. It all kind of coordinates together. All right, so let me put that aside. And now we're going to go through again. Now, one other thing, if you have any trouble with your foil not adhering, sometimes people will mega foil. And what I mean by that is they will, you know, fill up a piece of parchment paper with pieces and run it through the other side. And then as soon as that comes out, they'll shove another one right in. The laminator actually cools down a bit when you put something through it. So what I like to do is I like to give it a second to kind of heat back up again. Maybe just take a little moment to admire my design and maybe even make a card with it. And by then this has come back up to temperature. So, but you can put more than one design in the parchment at a time. So if you did 3 greetings in here or 2 greetings in here, then you could go and make 2 cards and then come back and foil some more. But we'll take our chances here because we only have an hour and we will see what happens. Gotta just go with it, right? And also, if you get a little black spot here and there, don't worry about it. And it's a homemade card. And so, you know, it's not always going to be 100% perfect, but once you kind of get the hang of it and you realize that it has to heat up enough, then no, you can't stamp on top of Versamark. That won't work. And I know that some people have had some luck stamping on top of embossing powder. I did not have any luck with that. I put it through and the embossing powder just slid and everything just came out like a gloppy mess. So I think that that kind of is hit or miss. What I do have a lot of luck with is taking Decofoil transfer gel, dabbing it on my stamps, stamping with that and letting it dry, and then using foil with it. It's not exactly the same, but depending on the stamps, you can get a really cool look. For example, if you use leaf stamps, different leaves, they just look a little more rustic. I did it with feathers in my 5 ways to use Decofoil transfer gel, and they just look a little bit rustic, but they're beautiful. So that's a great way to do it. Okay, so now let's see what happened here. I should probably let you guys in on it too, right? All right, so here we go. Ooh, those stars. Look at that. Isn't that fun? Let the party begin. All right. And then again, you know, you have these pieces that you could use a glue stick or something like that with. You could press that down really well and let it dry, and then you could cut that out with a die shape. And then you have the reverse piece. So I like to kind of keep all of these actually. But, you know, we're all kind of crafting hoarders, and so we like to keep all our little bitty pieces. All right, so for this card, I am going to use a piece of white cardstock, and I'm not prepared for that, but I can get prepared really quickly. Really quickly. Okay, so I'm going to take a piece of white cardstock, and I'm going to cut this white cardstock just a little bit bigger than that black panel, because normally I'm mounting a piece of colored cardstock or white cardstock, so I'm using a black panel. But this time I'm going to cut this at 5 1/8 inches by 3 7/8 of an inch. And then that, I think I'm going to have to trim it down just a little bit more, but let's see. That looks pretty good, right? That'll be good. Okay, so let's do that. Let me find some tape and tape this together. I know I'm racing the clock tonight. I was a little long-winded. It's showing a lot of stuff, but it's fun and It's not like we're on national television where we're going to get fined if we go over. We can go over a few minutes. Okay. So that's, and then I think I'll just put that right onto the card like that. But I'll put it on straight. And then I think I'll use, gosh, I could use, you know what would be fun? A yellow background. I think that would be really fun and bright and fun. And I know, like, my husband, his favorite colors are orange, yellow. He likes those bright, vibrant colors. So maybe my nephew will like that too, or my brother-in-law. We'll see. So I'm going to, I cut a piece there, and now I'm going to score it at 4 1/4 inches. And it's not going to take much to put this card together. So you can see how you can make a lot of fast cards with this setup once you get going. So I'll put that right in the center there. And then, should I pop this up with some foam squares, or should I tape it right down on there? I could pop it up. Do I have foam squares close by is the question? Of course I do. I have black foam squares, which are perfect. So I'll put those on the back. And if you've never used our foam squares, they're pretty cool. They come with this long piece of tape, and then you just pull on the tape and, oh, see what I just did? You pull on the tape, it's because I'm talking too much, and the foam square just pops out. Pull on the tape. What did I do? I think there we go. And the foam square pops out. So, do a few of these. I think 5 is enough. ThermoWeb thinks 30 is enough. Just kidding, Scott, Dawn, Julia, Sue, if you're watching. Foam squares are the best. Now, I love the thickness of these foam squares. They're not too thick, so they really don't tend to make the card too thick. But if you want them thicker, you can just double them up, and then you can get a real high loft on that. All right. Happy birthday to you. So there's my first card, full of sparkle and shine, blinding the camera. I could have put a little belly band on here of ribbon, but since it's going to my nephew, I think that this will be good. Okay, so I'll show that again in a minute. Now I'm going to use the green and the blue here, and I'm going to do, I need a couple pieces of black cardstock because I'm going to do a little fun layout. This one, I will use a jelly bean green card base. And I will start with the blue. I'll put that down first. But I'm going to trim it. So, and this is really all on the fly, everybody. I am creating in real time. So I'm going to trim this one down to 2 1/4 inches. And I think that was 2 1/4. Now let's go 2 1/8. And I know that's weird, but I want to do it so that I cut along the centers of the polka dots a little bit. Like that. See, this way I kind of have a more evenness on both sides. Now that's just me, and I'm weird that way, but I kind of like having it that way. So this now I'll go up to 2 1/4. Since I did this one around 2 1/8. And that was already cut down to the right size on the top and bottom. So that'll work out really nicely. Okay, so that's going to be my one side of my card. Then I'm going to do kind of a fat square. So this one will be 3 by 3. Let me look at this first before I make the commitment to go 3 by 3. I want to look at my layout, excuse my arm. That might be fun. I think I'll do that. So This piece is now 3 by 3 3/4. So for my layering piece, I needed to be 3 1/8 by 3 7/8. I just went up 1/8 of an inch on both sides. Yeah, it looks pretty good. Okay, so I'll move the paper cutter out of the way. And all these strips, look, I can use these for other things. Definitely can make more cards with those. Don't throw anything away when it comes to foil. It's all too pretty. So here is my jelly bean green card base. I will start with my strip first, and I'll adhere those two pieces together. Thought about making these cards this morning, and then I thought maybe right before I posted my live, maybe I'll do it live. I'm actually going to trim a little bit more off the one side here of the black because the top and the bottom and the side look even. So again, you know, I like to do this thin hair kind of thing that actually makes me very nervous, but I'm going for it. There we go. There is the thin hair I was talking about. Okay, so now this piece is going to go right down the side of this card. So we'll place that now right here. And I don't know if my sister's watching, but Jessie, if you're watching, don't let Tim or Drew watch because I'm making their cards. Okay, and then I will pop these together. That was about as straight as a circle. Okay, there we go. And then I'll put that piece right in there, like that. Thanks for hanging in there with me, guys, while I figure out what I'm doing. Okay, we'll put that there. Get to see that little row of polka dots there. And then when I lay this out, what I'm really trying to do is balance the amount of green space on both sides. I feel like that makes the card look more balanced. And then I will adhere this oval to the black oval. Okay. And then that will go right in the center there, like that. And I could pop that up with some foam squares. Why not? I have them out. And I'm going to use 5 again, kind of like that layout. I haven't done my nails in 9 weeks. So, and it shows. Okay, and we'll get that up there just a little bit and place it. There we go. So let the party begin. I like that because the contrasting patterns in more than one color foil is really fun. But I absolutely could not pass up the opportunity to use that reverse piece, that negative piece on the toner paper. So there are my finished cards. We made it. And I have 2 birthday cards. These have to go out in the mail tomorrow if they're going to get there in time. I still might be late. Well, well, well. I will be posting pictures of these cards over on our Facebook page. If you, I don't know if I said this already, but if you are looking for a fun Facebook group, come join us over at Gina K Designs and Stamp TV Friends. It is a fun group. It's a private group, so you don't have to worry, but it's a big group and very, very supportive stampers. Everybody from beginner stampers to very advanced and very supportive of each other's projects. So once again, look at all that sparkle and shine. I love to see it on this camera too. That one. Wow, wow, wow. Love it. Well, tonight's topic was living in the past And I do have a final quote for you this evening. We don't heal the past by dwelling there. We heal the past by living in the present. Thank you guys so much for joining me. It is always so much fun. I will be back on Friday night for Flashback Friday. We'll be doing something with an old stamp set or an old technique. Don't forget to wear your jammies, and I will see you then at 7 o'clock. Thanks so much for joining me.